So we are going to work on graphing inequalities again today. This time there's no context to the problem. So we just have three inequalities that we want to graph and find the area that they overlap to help us find the corner points or solution points. So I need to graph them just like we normally would. So this very first equation, I noticed that I need to rewrite it because it's currently in standard form and I need it in slope-intercept form. So if I rewrite this equation, I have 2x plus y is less than or equal to 4. I know that my first step is I have to move the x. So I'm going to subtract it because I have a positive 2x. I want that to cancel out. I get y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4. Because I can't combine the 4 and the negative 2 because they don't both have the same variable. The last step would be to divide by whatever's in front of the y value, but there is no number. So you could divide everything by 1, or you can just be finished because there is no number. So that's my first equation there. The next thing I'm going to do is this second equation. I have negative 2x plus 2y is less than or equal to negative 4. So again, I need to move this x, but this time it's a negative 2x. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. These cancel. I get 2y is less than or equal to 2x minus 4. And then, like I said before, we have to divide everything by the number that's in front of the y in order for that to cancel. So y is less than or equal to 2 divided by 2, which is 1x, minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there's my second equation. But finally, I have this third equation. And it kind of looks different than what we've been doing, but we've seen this before. If there is no x value, this is simply going to be a line. It's either going to be a line side to side, or it's going to be a line up and down. And we'll discover that once we go to graph it. So we can start graphing our lines now. So if we look at our first one, I know that my slope is negative 2, and my start is 4. And this inequality means I'm going to shade below and solid. It really helps me to write that out before I start, so that way I know what I need to do. So I'm going to start at 4, and I'm going to go down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, and you want to continue that pattern all the way as far as you can. And then we'll draw our line. So when I draw my line, I need to make sure that line goes through the points as accurately as possible, but also all the way through. So I'm going to extend this one down so it goes all the way through my graph. And then we need to shade. So my shading I wrote on here is that it's below. So I'm going to shade this one below. Get that nice line accurate there, and then the rest I can just draw it. Okay, there's my below. So the next thing we're going to draw is the red line. And if I need to remind myself, my slope is 1, my start is negative 2. This symbol again means below and solid. So I start at negative 2. My slope is 1, so up 1, right 1. I notice I have an overlap of coordinates, and that's okay. It's actually really good. But now I want to make sure I finish my pattern back the other way. So I'm going to continue the other direction as well and draw the line. Again, try and make that line as accurate as possible through your dots. So notice when I picked it up, it moved a little bit, so I'm just going to move it back. Okay, so now we'll do some shading. And this one was below as well, so we're going to shade this way. Try and get that line as straight as possible. Okay, and so finally we have this weird equation that we weren't sure about. Y is greater than or equal to negative 4. So this is my y-axis. I want to find negative 4, and that's right here. But then my slope doesn't exist. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, so that means that I'm only going left and right. So I'm just going to draw my dots on that same line, side to side. Because every dot on this line will have a y coordinate of -4. And then I can draw my line side to side. And the shading for this one is, ooh, we didn't write that down. This symbol here means above. So we're going to shade above that line. So now that I have all my colors in the graph, and I've actually colored the entire graph, I need to figure out where my colors overlap. So I'm going to take a pen and I'm just going to mark where all of my colors overlap. So when I look at my graph, I see the blue, I see the purple, I see the red, and I notice that they all overlap right here in this triangle. So when I'm looking for corner points, I'm going to find this corner. This isn't a corner for all of them, although it is an intersection, but we're not going to use that one. We have this corner. So hopefully I'm just circle them so you guys can see them. And then when I keep looking, I have this corner. So although we have other coordinates, those are the 3 corners of our triple shaded area. So I'm going to use those coordinates in my corner points. So if we look at this first coordinate here, it is -2 meets up with -4. So -2, -4. Okay, and then this coordinate here looks like it is at +4, -4. And then finally, this coordinate here is at +2, 0. Okay, and so eventually we'll use those to help us with our objective functions, but for today, we're just going to graph and identify coordinates.